Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Top3Tech. So originally this was going to be a review of a 4060 non-TI, but Best Buy gave me a free upgrade. Hey guys, so I know I filmed the intro already, so this is a quick cut, but I got bamboozled. They did send me the 4060, they put in a 4060 Ti box, like 4060 Ti, it says right there, 4060, wow. Everywhere else it says 4060 Ti. Terrible. And on the actual GPU, sorry, I'm not trying to grab that. Do this. It says 4060. So I guess we are going to do the 4060 review. Let's go. Which is good, but I needed the 4060, not the 4060 Ti. But anyways, we have the MSI GeForce RTX 4060 Ti Ventus 2X Black. I reviewed the Gigabyte Aero 4060 Ti, so I wanted to try the 4060, but I have to wait another couple weeks for that. So since Best Buy was nice enough to send me this, we're going to go ahead and do the unboxing and the benchmarks for this as well. And what I'm probably going to do with this card is sell it to someone local, so I don't have to charge people extra for shipping. They'll get a 4060 Ti for a 4060 price because I don't technically need it, so I might as well share the love. But anyways, let's get on with the unboxing. I went ahead and took off the plastic. I like that they leave that on there so you can see that it's brand new. In case you're buying a used or new GPU, kind of helps confirm that it's brand new. In case anyone was trying to say that they saw any used one and it wasn't. Normally I pop this. All right. Normally I pop the seal off before I do this, but oh well. Let's go ahead and see what's inside. The box is so tiny. So I got this thin piece of cardboard. Like I said, this is the 4060 Ti, but I think it's the same size as the 4060 if we're being honest. Look how tiny this thing is. Oh my god. So the GPU is inside. And the quick user installation guide is in here as well. And that looks like it's about it. Jeez. But we'll go ahead and do this review right now. Or just zoom in on this card. Sorry about that, you guys. I just wanted to, dang, look how tiny this thing is. I just want to show you guys this box. I know no one cares about the box as much, but I mean, look, this is the Intel Arc A770 box. Jeez. Here's my 7900 XTX box. Jeez. And then here's the 3070 Ti box. Look at that. Jeez. So let's go ahead and zoom in on that GPU. We have a dual fan 199mm GPU that is encased in plastic. The backplate of this card is plastic, helps them save some money, helps you save money. It has GeForce RTX painted in white on the left. It has some black little lines and designs on this card. We have the MSI logo painted in white, GeForce RTX painted in white, and then the 8-pin socket on top. We have a stainless steel bracket that supports 3 DisplayPort 1.4s and 1 HDMI 2.1. So here we have the GPU comparison. Like I said in the edited intro, this is the 4060 non-TI. Just got to keep reiterating that because I got bamboozled. So this is the dual fan. It's all plastic. This was 300. And then this one was 350, or actually 360 when I got it. This is the Acer Predator Bifrost Intel Arc A770. It has Aeroblade 3D fan here and right here. They're both RGB. This is all metal. It has the Predator logo. This has no RGB on it and it's all plastic, so we'll see if that price difference is worth it. We also have this EVGA 3070 Ti. It is the FTW3 Ultra, the For the Win 3. It's got the EVGA logos on the fans and in the center. All plastic LED bar here. This Sapphire Pulse, it's the 6800 non-XT. All non-RGB as well. Sorry guys, Sapphire Pulse. I'm sorry, my brain is still confused from that 4060 debacle. And then I got the Sapphire Nitro 6800 XT Special Edition. These fans light up, RGB. Got the two-tone shroud. And then here's the Sapphire Nitro 7900 XTX Vapor X. That card is huge. So that's just the difference in these cards. Obviously this is a way cheaper card, but look how tiny this is compared to even the freaking Bifrost. Obviously, I mean, it's just a dual card, but I wasn't expecting something that tiny. Most people don't vertically mount their cards, so this is how the layout will look like in your PC mostly. So as you can see, this is all plastic. It's got a little heat vent on there still, which is pretty impressive considering its size. This is an 8-pin. I think it's the only 8-pin I have here. The 8-pin socket. This has got the Predator logo here, Predator words there, into RK770. Heat vent into RK770 there. It lights up and says Predator, and then it has the logo there. Jeez, I need to wipe that down. Sorry guys, I didn't realize how much fingerprints I had on there. I take this in and out of my streaming PC, so that's why it's got so much. Here's the EVGA for the Win 3 Ultra 3070 Ti. GeForce RTX on the back right there. This red line makes it look like an AMD card. Heat vent built into the design. It's got other holes there. There's the aluminum fins. I like to call it the radiator. The LED bar there. 16-pin socket. BIOS switch. I don't think this one had a BIOS switch. No. Okay. Then we'll go to the Sapphire Pulse 6800 on XT. It's got this nice line on it, non-RGB, heat vent. The BIOS switch is right there. Sapphire on the bottom left, Radeon right there, 16-pin socket. We got the Nitro. It's got the silver back, heat vent on the right, 16-pin socket. It lights up right there. That Fox logo lights up. BIOS switch is right there. And then we got the Nitro XTX. Metal. This is like a gunmetal gray. On the pictures it looks like this though, which is kind of weird. But that Sapphire lights up. 24-pin socket. Big LED bars on both sides. So that's just showing you the difference in different tiers of cards. This is obviously completely different. These two are more comparable just because of the price. But still. Remember, this is the 4060. See? Even though I got the 4060 Ti box. But then right here it says 4060. So, but right here it says 4060 Ti. So, I don't know. Super confusing. I don't know how that happened, but MSI, you guys gotta answer to me on that one, huh? But let's go ahead and put this GPU in the box. In the PC case. Oh my god. We're gonna go ahead and put this bad boy inside the Lian Li Lancool 2 case. I think it's gonna be super huge for my case, but oh well. Look, I have these 24 pins for my XTX, so that's definitely overkill for this 8-pin socket. But let's go ahead and put it in there and see how it looks. So if you're definitely a non-RGB GPU fan, this is perfect for you. Because like it's as big as my bracket holder. That's definitely not even needed. But that's how it looks like in the case. Everything else around it makes it look pretty nice. But let's go ahead and get to the benchmarks. Sorry guys, I'm like completely thrown off just because of the whole situation. Before we get started with the benchmarks, let me go ahead and introduce the Top3Tech PC specs. We have an Asus X570 Tough Gaming Plus Wi-Fi motherboard. We have a Ryzen 7 5800X CPU. We have 32GB of Corsair Ventus 3200 MHz RAM. And of course, today I'm going to be testing the MSI GeForce RTX 4060 non-TI. Ventus 2X Black overclocked 8GB card running on the PCIe Gen 4x8 bus lanes. It is on 128-bit memory bus. It has 2505 MHz boost clock. It has 2490 MHz game clock. It is on 8GB of GDDR6 memory. It's on the Ada Lovelace architecture. They do recommend a minimum 550 watt PSU. I like to compare these cards naturally rasterized, but I do have super sampling on. I do have smart access memory on some of the AMD cards, and I also have resizable bar on for the NVIDIA cards. And on some of the benchmarks, you'll notice the Gigabyte Gaming 3070, the PNY 3070, the NVIDIA GeForce 3070. Those are older drivers, so they're going to be a little bit different compared to that Gigabyte Gaming 3070, but hey, we have it on there just to see. The 3060 Ti is on older drivers, and the PNY 3060 is on older drivers, but hey, this is just for comparison's sake. seeing the performance on this card, I was pleasantly surprised for different reasons. A lot of people like and don't like this card, the 4060, not the 4060 Ti. Well, people probably don't like those cards either. But at 1440p, it did average 90 frames per second. On more demanding games, it averaged about 50 to 60 frames. So depending on what games you play at 1440p, this might factor in whether you want this card or not. At 1080p, we did get 110 to 130 frames per second. And with the more demanding games, we got 85 frames per second. So again, this is a 1080p card, which can play at 1440p. But I wouldn't focus mostly on that, on 1440p. If you want to play at 1440p, you probably want to go another tier up. But where this card really shines is at ray tracing. Of course, it's an NVIDIA card, but still, we have to test it out. And it gets 60 frames per second at 1440p on most of the games. And Cyberpunk is a more demanding game with ray tracing built in from the ground up, and that gets about 19 frames per second at 1440p. When we go to 1080p, we get about 90 frames per second on games with ray tracing. And on Cyberpunk, we got 31 frames per second, which is very playable because, geez, I remember when Cyberpunk first came out, even without ray tracing, cards were barely running like 30 frames. So being able to run it with ray tracing at 30 frames, 1080p is actually pretty impressive. If you look at the different cards, the 6700 XTs and under perform worse at Cyberpunk, and this card being newer and actually performing less on natural rasterization on regular games and performance, this is a plus because it flips the script. So like I said, ray tracing is where you get your money's worth on this card. If you really want ray tracing, this is a reason to get this card over the competition. But with DLSS 3 on and frame generation on, that's a big game changer as well. Except for Horizon 5, where for some reason it was ghosting, but I feel like that's more of a Horizon 5 issue because they added DLSS way after that game was out, so they probably haven't been able to properly configure it. So maybe in time it'll get better, but for now I wouldn't recommend DLSS with that game. But frame generation makes this game Cyberpunk way more playable because the stats are insane. Actually, with the frame generation on with ray tracing, you get better performance than naturally rasterized, but you do get input lag. And to me, the quality isn't too bad at Cyberpunk, but with Horizon, it was pretty bad. So just depending on the game and how they implement DLSS 3 and frame generation, that's what's going to determine whether it's worth it for you or not at that game. Because if they do a bad job at implementing it, then why even play this? So for me, I would recommend anything else at this price point: 7600, 6700, 6700 XT, even the A770 maybe, depending on the price. But if you really want ray tracing, then I would recommend this card over those at this price point. Before I give you my final thoughts on this card, I thought we'd talk about it a little bit more, just because there's some things I like and don't like about it. Obviously, the size of this card is pretty great. I mean, it's a dual fan, and a lot of people with smaller cases, this might work for them, or with a specific case use, this will be perfect for them. So the size is awesome, and I do like the fact that it comes with the AV1 encoder. It allows better quality streams at the same bit rate as previous encoders, so you could be streaming at 2K, 1080p, 4K, higher quality, and you'll be using the same internet bitrate, which is great because more performance for the same thing is always a plus, right? Who's going to argue about that? The temps on this card are pretty great as well. They're not the craziest, but I mean, that's me comparing them to the bigger cards, longer cards, and that they have vapor chamber. So I mean, this doesn't have any of that. It's a lot shorter. So when you think about it that way, the temps aren't too bad, especially when you consider the fact that last gen's cards were a little bit hotter, about the same size. So I mean, we'll take that as well, right? That's what improvement's all about. And then the power consumption on this card is not too bad either. That's one of its main features as well. When you look at the fact that it barely consumes 115 watts at a game, it's insane. But I mean, I don't really care too much about power consumption, but like I said, that's a main feature on this. And the another thing people might like is the 8-pin socket. It doesn't have a dongle because it doesn't need one, honestly. And some people don't have too many PCIe 8 wires, or they got the dual pin ones, or the dual head ones, and it's just much cleaner this way, and it's more accessible for everyone. So that's great to have as well. And the price, $300, is expensive to some, but when you compare it to the 3060 and 3060 Ti, it's a lot cheaper than last gen's cards. So I guess that's a plus. People want cheaper, but hey, I mean, I feel for $300, it's still not too bad. But like I said, compared to the competition, that's where it looks really bad. So maybe they'll figure that out one day. And it has zero frozer, which is pretty much like 0 RPM. And what it means is when the temperatures are low on this card, the fan turns off or it goes very, very slow. I think it's like under 30 degrees. But anyways, when that's when the card runs cooler, or yeah, when the cards is cooler, the fans are slower, so that way you don't hear them. And I think that's an awesome feature to have. A lot of people always ask me if GPUs have that, and if this one has it, I could say yes. So if you don't watch this part and you comment down below, the answer is yes. It has 0 RPM mode. The thing I don't like about this card is it's all plastic, and I understand why they do all plastic is so they can save money, which saves you money. But either way, I can just say I don't like the all plastic designs. But the Torx fan, the 4.0, it does feel nice. It looks different compared to previous fans, so I can say that's a plus. But for some reason, when I set the fans up to like 75%, it would start to wobble. And I'm not talking about the fan speed making the noise. Like the actual fan was like wobbly. It's hard to explain. But they were noticeably, the audio was noticeable for sure. And that was with the PC being pretty far. Because I was watching the movie, so I could hear it over the movie while I was running some benchmarks. So that's pretty alarming. So just that fact alone, I don't know if it's just this card, but I probably wouldn't recommend it just like that because people always hate the fan noise, and that one's even crazier than normal fan noise. So that's something to consider as well. Like I said, maybe it's just this card, maybe not, but that's definitely a no-no in my book. And no BIOS switch, which is weird, but hey, I guess you gotta save money somewhere. But either way, that's a con for me because you might as well just include it. I like more features. And one of the biggest things I dislike from this card is it's supposed to be the 3060, the next generation, and it has reduced specs from the 3060. It has 8 gigabytes of VRAM and 128-bit bus, and the 3060 had 12 gigabytes of VRAM and 192-bit interface, which is pretty weird, but they did it supposedly on the Ada Lovelace architecture. The reason they reduced it is because they have L2 cache on there, and that helps improve performance in the game. But they could have added that and kept the VRAM up and the interface up. So no excuses there, NVIDIA. We get that the architecture is much improved, but hey, you know what? Give us both. Give us new architecture and better specs as well, because it is limiting on some games and some stuff. 8 gigabytes is crazy. Supposedly that was I don't know, this card is cheaper, but supposedly that was in the past. We're supposed to be seeing newer stuff, but here we go with 8 gigabyte cards still, and we're seeing that they're starting to get neutered when it comes to new games because they're so demanding. And this is also a Gen 4x8 PCIe lanes, and that might not be so good for Gen 3 because you might get a reduction in performance because you need more of those lanes. So I'm not too sure. I haven't tested out with the Gen 3 board. I didn't test it out in Gen 3 mode, but that's something to keep in mind for the people that have motherboards that are only Gen 3. So that's kind of odd with this card as well because it's supposed to be a budget card, and some people don't want to upgrade their motherboards because they just want to get a cheap card. So that kind of contradicts this card in itself as well, because like I said, you're getting this card so you can save money, but you're gonna have to buy a new motherboard. So where are you saving money there? So If you have Gen 3, you might not want to buy this card. Maybe I will test it in Gen 3, who knows. My schedule's so crazy, my work life is so crazy. I'm sorry to the people that are subscribed that it takes me so long to put these out now. But I appreciate everyone tuning in. Hopefully I was able to help you guys out. The 3060, in my opinion, is not too bad of a card compared to other cards on the market. You might want to skip this and get those. When it comes to ray tracing, this is where you might want to buy it for $300. 6700 XT, it's around $320, $330. I'd probably say get that. Spend $30 extra, get that. If you want to save $30 to $50, you can get a 6600 or 6600 XT, 6650, 6700 non-XT, or the 7600. Those perform similar or better depending on which card you get, but they're cheaper or the same price equivalent but better performance. So you could save money, get more frames, spend a little more money, get even more frames, or save a lot of money and get slightly less frames. So that's up to you. And there's also the 3060s and 3060 Ti's. They perform very similarly to this card. Maybe you can get them on sale a lot cheaper. If they're the same price or barely more, just get the 4060. You might as well get the card with the newer features. So either way, whether you bought this card and you're just watching this to affirm your purchase, it's not too bad of a card. If you haven't bought this card and you're trying to decide what card to buy, maybe skip this card unless you want ray tracing. And I'm not the biggest ray tracing fan, but hopefully that doesn't stop you from buying whatever you want for whatever use case. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace. Thank you for watching another video from Top 3 Entertainment. I hope you hit like and subscribe. Also, I'm going to have a recommended playlist, a recommended video right here, so make sure to click that as well. I appreciate you guys tuning in, whether it be to the Top 3 Tech, Top 3 Gaming, or the Why Not Me podcast. You guys are dope. I hope to see you guys on the next video. And of course, let's grow this thing together. Peace. Peace. Peace.